All right, we're back after about what 3 weeks we've been gone.
Yeah, that's about right.
But yeah, we were just discussing you recapping the Game Gear, and then I started talking about when I had one and gotten rid of because I couldn't afford to buy games for at that particular period of time all the various systems. There was a lot of overlap in those days.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got King Gear late, and unfortunately my capacitors died. So I'm going to attempt in probably about a week or so, because I'm waiting for the capacitors to arrive in the mail, to basically recap mine, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it'll be a
I,
project.
I love that Game Gear, but I always believed the screen needed to be bigger, and of course the battery life had to be better. There was some
Now,
shortfalls.
if you want an advanced project with the Game Gear, they sell replacement screens
Yeah, they
that are
do.
like.
I've seen that.
And I watched a video, about a good 40-minute video, and holy cow, is it complicated because you actually
Yeah.
have to remove capacitors, solder certain things in, and oh wow, it's a project. I mean, replacing capacitors is one thing, but this thing actually requires you to. It's pretty much surgery at this point.
My superpower is when I get these old consoles, I just buy like three of them because I just know one or two is going to die, but
Oh
I want
yeah.
to keep having it, and I'm just not getting in there and trying to repair. And
Well, I'm
usually, I
just
don't want
trying
to
to
spend.
learn.
I would rather just find another one than pay somebody to fix one. I don't have anybody locally that does that. It's that I know of anyway locally here that's any good at it. And
Well, if depending on my luck, I'll let you know. I'm
I
more than
had a
happy to
couple of
help you.
guys and I could probably dig back through old emails and other things and then try to track them down that did me right on some things I sent them, whether it was a Neo Geo that I bought the board from off of the Chinese website. Crap, what's it called? Alibaba or AliExpress,
Hmm.
however you want to pronounce it. But I bought just a Neo Geo board for the that had been inside of an actual, I don't not console. My God, an actual arcade machine, and that board was in bad shape. Oh my God! But I got it for like dirt cheap, and even at the time, I thought, yeah, this I don't know if this is right or not. I think I only spent like 40 something bucks for it, shipping and everything. And but when I got it, and then I just no sooner than it showed up, I I, I shouldn't even opened it, but I opened it and looked at it, and yeah, and it looked bad. It looked really bad. But I repackaged it, and then I mailed it off to a guy that I'd found on the internet, and then I, had already worked a deal out with him for him to consolize it for me, and he got it working, and it still works to this day, but it's shaky, but it's beautiful. He did a great job as far as he put it in a big metal shell console and spray painted that red, and yeah, it's a beautiful thing to look at. But he put the necessary different things to make it consoleized so that you could hook controllers directly to it and hook it up to regular televisions. Pretty neat. It was pretty cool, and but it was a two slotter, or was it a four slotter? No, I think it was just a two slotter, and one of the slots don't work now, but the one still does. But yeah, that gets the board just like I said, it was I try not to use it. Since then, I've bought the same product from the Chinese place that they have it all done for you before you get it, and it's pretty good quality.
That's cool. That's.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just want to teach myself something new. So that's why I'm going for the
and then that
soldering. But we'll see.
same guy, I sent him no, what a Turbo Graphics, except it was the Japanese version, the
Oh,
PC.
PC Engine. Yep, yep.
Yeah, and he did all of the necessary work on it. But there was one other one. I'm getting something wrong that I'm forgetting. This same guy, or maybe it was another guy, because I used a couple of different ones. But another guy put all the necessary pieces to get the audio video out. That might have been the one on the Neo Geo board. I don't know. But anyway, I've got those things, and but you don't really need them now. We've talked about this because of the minis and all that. It's like I spend so much less money because of those minis because I'm not out there constantly trying to buy some retro console that's been modded. I shouldn't even call it modded anymore. It's just whatever they got to do to it to make it more modern. Because all of them have various ways now to make them HDMI. And although now that I've got plenty of extra money, I may get back on uh, AliExpress or AliExpress. I never know how to pronounce that.
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
know what you're
Ali.
talking about.
Ali. It's not Ali. But
I'm
anyway,
sh- I'm
there's
sure someone will
there's
connect
some of
correct you.
those weird 7,001 game boards that already have the buttons and the joystick.
Right.
Yeah, I've been. Yeah, I really need to get at least one, if not two, a couple of those. And they're not very expensive, and because I want to get them now before they eventually go to where just all HDMI out. Right now, you can still get them, and they still got component out. And I still got a couple of TVs that are component. And I only say that because there's so many great old school games that were built using monitors, and they were built with the programmers were designing the game to look its best on a monitor, not a modern day television, and because of the scan lines and the way things work, the way they programmed, and those games can look fine on modern day televisions. And I got plenty that do. They look fine, but it's just not the same magic. I'm just telling you, if you get something like Ikaruga or oh crap, what was I was just playing one the other day. It was a little earlier than Ikaruga. It was a Saturn one. Oh my god.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Radiant Silvergun.
No, but no,
Oh,
not that one.
wasn't.
That's a great one too. But this was hold on. I think I took a screenshot picture. Hold on. Let me grab my camera. I'm looking this is why we don't get any viewers, by the way, because I get on tangents like this and I'm not prepared. But whatever, I don't care.
That's fine.
Gallery here. There's the button. Hang on. Batsugun.
Oh yeah. That's a great one.
But yeah, you can't. And I actually don't have that particular game on any of my throwbacks that output 720p up to a modern television. I just have it for my Saturn. But I just wonder, can I get that on something
Hmm.
modern that'll play on my modern TV that doesn't have to have a trick cable or the console itself's modded to output in something? I'm just
Yeah,
that's where I need that fucking Saturn Mini. Damn it! You know what I'm talking about? I
yeah. I
need
know what
that
you
so
mean.
bad, and I know that they've got. I think you can buy a cable that makes Saturns
Yeah, I have one.
output 720p, and you can also there's other Saturn things you can get, including that Satinator that I got, and but that's all using the original equipment. And I don't know. I just want I want a Saturn Mini. Damn it! I don't understand why they stopped. Why did they stop making minis? It don't make any sense.
Yeah, who knows? I
What
guess
is
if they feel like they don't want to, if they feel like they're not going to make the money back, I guess they'd stop. But I don't know. I feel
they
like all
made
the other
money off
minis
of them
just
though.
sold like
My
crazy.
God, my understanding is like all of the TurboGrafx ones they sold them like candy. I mean, and then that little mini arcade machine that I've got, designed after an actual arcade machine,
Hmm.
and they got another one of
One of
those
those too.
coming that we've talked about,
Yep.
and it's going to sell out completely. And I haven't actually paid for mine yet, but what I'm doing is because I'm not going to be in country when that thing drops, and I don't want to be buying it overseas and then having to try to carry that back in a suitcase.
Right.
So I'm going to buy it and have it shipped here. Well, they don't ship till next March, but I don't want that money because by the time I get the extra controllers and things and this or that, I'm probably going to be well over $200. So I don't want that coming off my card after I'm already overseas. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm gonna be budgeting myself and things.
Sure.
I have an extra account though that I was just gonna let go, and I haven't. I don't think I got any money in it now, but it's still they haven't gotten rid of it. So I'm gonna actually transfer probably like say $300 onto that account, and then go order this 200 something dollars worth of that uh, Tato egrets too.
Mhm.
Uh, but anyway, and I'm going to order it from Amazon Japan, and then that card won't get charged for 8 or 10 months. But I don't trust Amazon as it is anyway, so that's why I'm gonna put it on the card so they can only steal what's on there. I don't have to worry about getting to my main account.
Yeah, Amazon is notorious for not. I mean, I'm sure people will be like, "Oh, I swear by them," but no, we've had some issues with them too.
Yeah, I'm not
Thankfully, they've been pretty good about
this
correcting it.
early. I mean, it's only June.
Yeah.
I told you, that Amazon ripped me off. And it was when
Oh
I was,
yeah,
I was in the
I remember.
hospital last June when this happened 1 year ago, and I just got a notification on my Alexa thing. I forget what you call that, but I just the little yellow light was blinking on it this morning. So it's like you say, Alexa, uh, watch my notifications or read my notifications to me, and the notification was, hey, your Amazon Prime's about to end. You need to go into Amazon and change your status, or they won't be able to charge me because I did shut it off that. But apparently, I've been paying for Amazon Prime for a whole year. I thought it already went away. I thought maybe because I was mad about that, I shut my account down. I couldn't use Amazon Prime anymore. But I knew I'd paid. I thought I didn't know how many months I had, but apparently, right at the same time, my yearly thing it went down. So for the last 11 months, I've been paying for freaking Amazon Prime and haven't been able to get it. And they would never refund me on that either, by the way. They were really shitty about it. It was almost like dealing with fucking Sony. I kid you not. I mean, they were just shitty about it. So I'm like, fuck them. But since then I have ordered things through Amazon, but I set it up on a card day that if it gets robbed, it won't. Yeah, it won't get to my main monies or anything.
That's good. Yeah, that's
I
good.
treat
It's
them the
smart to
same
have.
way I treat AliExpress and Chinese sites, and uh, I always put that money on a card that way that gets ripped off. Only what's on there gets ripped off, and so yeah.
So, what you think of E3?
Microsoft crushed it.
Yeah, they
I
did really
thought
good.
the rest of the shows were all, whatever. I wasn't impressed. I wasn't upset about any of them. Uh, Even Nintendo's I thought was a little lackluster. Although I'm happy about Metroid, but we'll get into this a little bit more in a little bit. But let's stick to the overall E3 thing. Overall, E3 is not back yet. These were all
Oh
shows
yeah.
for the internet. They didn't feel like an event anymore. It just felt like another, you know, show on YouTube or whatever. But Microsoft crushed it. They got their ducks in a row, and all this like first it was like, well, it's not been this exciting since back in the 360 days. So I started hearing people saying, "Oh, this was the best E3 since the 360 days." So this was the best E3 ever. It was not the best E3 ever. Fuck, forget that. It was good, but there was no console announced. Anytime there's a new fucking console, that E3's good. I don't care what anybody says. It's just special when there's a new console coming out. What happened was last year because of the fucked up virus and all that, and there was no real E3. Then you didn't get that feel for the new consoles until much later in the year. And Sony and Nintendo were playing chicken on who was going to announce the fucking price first. And so it kind of sucked because a lot of these assholes and these so-called YouTuber experts that don't know their ass from a hole in the ground, they just not experienced E3 when a console announcement. You really got to go all the way back to 2013, and Microsoft kind of blew the Xbox One announcement. Although I thought they recovered quite nicely with the with the mid-gen upgrade, which well, shouldn't call it upgrade. The mid-gen, whatever you call it, where they made the console a little bit better and slimmed it down. That was the One S. Okay. And then they announced that fucker and boom, it was out 2 months later. I forget how quick it was. Or did it get announced a year before? No, the X they announced them both at the same E3, and then later that year, September, August, September, October, somewhere's in there, the S debuted, and it was a full year later. So it might have been as late as November that year before the S came out, but it was announced that June at E3. But that was a pretty awesome E3. Last year was a pretty damn awesome E3. They had over 50 games there. This year there was only 30, but the big difference was of that 50 they did last year. Yeah, there was only about 7 or 8 big games. They did have way too many indies and games that just wasn't as good. So, and I understood that, but I still enjoyed last year's show immensely. But last year wasn't part of E3. It was just Microsoft doing a big show in that time frame that E3 would have been. But again, it was just wasn't the same since there was no actual E3 show. But they did a really good job. I mean, it felt really good. And man, they hammered home that only on Xbox. Uh, yeah, they made sure that there was going to be no more questions about Starfield and or anything else. Uh, that shit ain't coming to play PlayStation 5. Guys like that, I know that, but
Yeah.
apparently there's a lot of people that didn't know that, and I think they did it more just to kind of slap the media because the media knows better, but yeah,
Oh, they always
they're the
yeah.
ones that's been pushing this more than anybody. It's not when we joke around and when I say things like ponies, and it's not those guys. Some of those hardcore ones that who actually I don't like, but those aren't the dudes that push this. They're not crying for Starfield on their PlayStation 5. This was the fucking mainstream media that's been being secret ponies, and they've been pushing for this crap. And they get clicks. Well, now they can't get any more clicks because Microsoft put their foot on their throat. And it's like, y'all need to shut the fuck up. This ain't happening. And it should have never got to any of that. That just amazes me how some of that got blown out of proportion. And I guess some of it's Microsoft's fault too, because they didn't just. I mean, they did say these games were only going to be, well, they said once at one point were only going to be where Game Pass is available. But even prior to that, they had kind of hooed and hawed around it, and everybody kind of knew, but yet nobody would flat out say it. So, but now it was pretty crushing. That is until Elder Scrolls 6, and then they'll hear more crying probably, but there'll be a show that year, whatever year they announce that, and it'll say, Xbox on or Xbox PC and whatever. It's pretty funny because Microsoft's pretty smart on this. And I think Sony will catch on here because there's some pretty smart dudes that work at Sony, and they will catch on. Ain't nobody buying their rigs to play Microsoft games. All right, they buy their PC rigs to play all games and anything else they can get their hands on. But Microsoft makes it seem like PC, so we're offering more places to play your game. I mean, they are. I mean,
Sure.
there are plenty of PlayStation games that have came to. You're only talking exclusives where they hadn't, and even those are now showing up on PC.
PC, right?
But even in the past, even when exclusives didn't, there was a ton of third-party games that didn't even come to Microsoft that I used to get really pissed off about because I would see it, hey, PlayStation and PC. But Sony never played that up like they should have. Microsoft, once they decided to put their shit on PCs, like they really push it up. And it's hey, we're not keeping these games from PlayStation players. We're putting it on all kinds of stuff. Well, the truth is they're putting it on stuff nobody's. If you're already a PC gamer, you're a PC gamer. You're going to be playing that stuff regardless.
Right.
But nobody's running out and buying a PC rig to go play the next Microsoft game. And I still don't believe playing these games on your cell phone through whatever way Microsoft's got that working. I don't believe that's it. That's not the future. That's something they're doing, and I think it's cool. but it's not. I just don't see that blowing up.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it. I mean, I tried it on one. I forgot what game it was. It worked well, just not my thing. I just rather play on
Yeah,
a big screen. I
and
don't know.
and here's the thing: they're talking about Microsoft doing much better in Japan, but that's just because of the uh, Series S. Okay, that thing is so tiny.
Right.
You can see Japanese gamers. That's what they've always preferred is a small console. And I'm telling you right now, if you look at the go back and look at sales numbers from the PS1, PS2, and PS3s where sales numbers started dropping in Japan. PS4, way more sales numbers dropped because they kept selling these big ass consoles. And yes, mobile gaming did take a ton of that. I mean, if you get on a train in Japan, yeah, they all playing. But I'm just telling you, the reason Xbox is doing better is not because of that cloud gaming and people playing and shit on their cell phones. It's because the Series S is a little tiny beast. It's just amazing they got that much power in a box that small. It was almost like they did a not a mid-gen upgrade, which that changed everything last generation. But every generation prior to that, at some point, usually it was at the end of the generations. A lot of people forget this stuff never happened in the mid. Yeah, they would do adjustments to the consoles throughout its life cycle, and it would just get a new product number. Uh, but it would still be the same shape and size and all that. And most of the time, they never bragged about it and never said, all new or whatever. Whoa.
Easy
Hold on.
there.
Okay,
You all right?
yeah, I gotta grab some tea here. But at the end of the life cycle, the new console was about to drop or might have already dropped. And then they would go back to the previous gen one, and then they would shrink it down so they could sell it much cheaper. And they did that at the end, and then it became where it was the middle where they were doing that, and it's even sooner. And now, I mean, Sony's not doing it after 1 year. There's going to be the new PS5 internally anyway coming out next year. Uh, that shit's crazy. I mean, that's unheard of. That's happened that quick. And I joke about it being because they're trying to fix the overheating, and it may very well do that. But the official reason is by going to that new chipset, it's now going to be 5 nanometers instead of 6, and that's apparently they can do that, and those are widely available. There's back stock of those boards and those chipsets at 5 nanometer because nothing else is using that. So Sony's going to be able, starting next year, to alleviate their shortage by doing that, and that's what they're saying. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I like the conspiracy theory of that's how they're fixing these all these all these like yours. I'm saying are going to die an early life. They might be fine now, but they're going to die early because they run crazy hot. Again, this is just my crazy, you know, X Files kind of thing. But
Well,
fan
I always know the risk whenever I buy a system that just comes out. What do they call it? A release day, system. Most of them have flaws and they die
yeah,
quick. I
but
mean,
I think you're going to be pretty safe. I just say that to piss off the
oh yeah, it's
fanboys and
fine.
make them mad.
You know what? Even if it does die, I'm prepared for it. I mean, I don't want to sound blasé. Of course, I won't be happy, but um, it's not. I don't know.
I think you'll be pretty safe.
Yeah.
This is their fifth mainline console and probably their 15th iteration.
Yep.
Because like I said, at the end of the PlayStation One's life, they shrunk it down to the same size of a damn portable CD player. It was amazing. And
Yeah.
the
And it
PS2 was
actually
the
had.
only one. Did the PS2 ever get
Oh yeah, I got a slim.
oh, okay.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind. I got one too.
Yep.
I don't know what happened to that one though.
I love the Slim PS2.
I've
Oh
got
man.
two or three of the full size PS2s. Um, None of them work, or none of the lasers working on. But I had one, the slimmed one, when we got back from Germany. Not excuse me, not Germany, from Korea. And my youngest son was staying with his mom back in Tennessee, and just me and my older son were together, and we were in uh, an apartment uh, that just checked into the base, but our stuff hadn't got delivered yet, so our consoles were still coming. And for whatever weird reason, he just wanted the PS2 to have something to do. And so they were still selling them, even though this was long after the PS3 and the 360 was out. And I was more than willing to go buy either one of those. And he was like, nope, nope. He just wanted a PS2, and then he wanted a copy of like Risk, like the board game
Huh.
that was on the PS2. And I can't. What's the one where you got like thousands of warriors that ride? And
Oh,
originally it was on Nintendo,
yeah,
but then they were also on everything. I can't
uh,
think of the name of it.
yeah.
But
I can't think of any of that. It's like the most common one.
yeah. He wanted a copy of that one that was out for the PS2, and it wasn't much. And so we went and bought it. But I don't know what happened to that console. He might have took that with him when he moved out years later, and because I know he took my fucking OG Xbox that was had been internally uh, fixed, to play backup games. And it had a switch so that you could still get online, and I love that thing. Uh, I'm still a little bit pissed off that he took it and then got rid of it. Kids don't know until they get old, but you just don't get rid of stuff like that. Or you do, or you be a hoarder like I am. My kids they're not like me. They don't want to hang on to stuff.
I feel like it's Dynasty Warriors.
That's it.
Yep,
That's one
that's
of the
it.
ones he wanted was Dynasty Warriors, and I don't know what number, but it was whatever the last one that came out on the PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
That's the one
Well,
he
they're
got.
as much as I hate to say it, they're all very similar. I mean, that's
Yeah.
true with a lot of those types of games, but they're fun though. They are. I mean,
I mean,
you
that's
know,
what he wanted. It wasn't going to cost me much money, so I didn't.
hey,
You know.
whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's really nothing wrong with waiting and getting a system after it's lived its life, because you can really, get some kick-ass games
Oh yeah, yeah.
and for
I've been
cheap
that
too.
myself. I've had systems while they were alive, and years later went back and got them again, and then got bunches of games for them. And uh, one in particular was GameCube. When the
Oh
GameCube
yeah,
was active, I can't honestly can't say that I had one in the day. I don't think I did. I think I just had the PS2 and the OG Xbox. I think I did not have. I think I just looked at it as a little kitty box, and it bugged me. And I didn't understand the brilliance of it until I got a Wii later on. And then when I got the Wii, uh, the guy that had it, because he got a Wii before it was like a Japanese Wii. Okay, he got it like months and months before they started selling the Wii in the States. And then and now a couple of months had gone by, or 6 months, I don't know however long, but he had to sell it, and I bought it. But there wasn't that many games available for it, except he had the whole crap ton of GameCube games, and so uh, he kicked all that in with it. And I was just trying to help this guy because he was getting out of the military and needed money, and so then he wasn't charging very much for it. But all of a sudden, I started playing these fucking GameCube games, and I'm like, holy shit. That was amazing. I'm like,
they really are. And
then I hunted down a GameCube, and since then I had like 4 or 5 of them, and I've got it. Yeah, it's one of my all-time favorite consoles.
it really is. And people didn't give it a chance. And I always pushed it. And they're like, no, I like PS2 or the regular Xbox, which is fine. Okay. I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, but as a
in that
secondary
time I was
system,
hardcore Sony. I can remember having these kind of discussions like we're having, but I'd be telling my kids, we were pretty young at the time, and yeah, back when I had Pong, and It was unimaginable that games could look like they look on the PS2. They're almost like watching movies. I can remember telling my little kids that,
And
and
now, a couple generations later,
yeah, exactly. They keep getting better, but they're still not quite the same as watching movies.
oh
Although
no,
Sony's come fucking close to that. They've had some games. I'm sorry that were is you can go 10 minutes without pushing a fucking button. Easy.
Metal Gear. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm not knocking it.
And that's not even Sony. I mean, that's another
I
company
know,
putting
I know
it
it's
out.
Konami, but still, it's.
But
I
all
get it.
the Uncharted games is very gameplay is minimum. It's you watch a little bit, punch your buttons a few times, and watch a little bit more. But it's all right. It's still fun. People love that. That's the most popular style of game.
Yeah,
And some people want to be offensive and call them walking sims, but you know what? They're not because there is such thing as walking sims, and they're not. The other games are not. They're just more cinematic. But I would not, you know. Let's be honest. I would never consider the Uncharted's and whatever the last two or three big ones that Sony put out. They're not really walking sims. They're that third person over the shoulder action adventure game or
yeah,
whatever. But let's be honest, compared to older type games, yeah, you don't do a whole lot. They're getting better at that. Now they got better combat, so you're pushing buttons a lot more. But you still get the big long cutscenes, and it's pretty funny because I can remember at a time where I used to beg for that. I want longer cutscenes, better cutscenes, longer cutscenes. And then when I got them, I didn't like them anymore because I was like, "Fuck, where's my gameplay?" That always cracks me up. Where all these idiot YouTubers are always screaming, "We didn't have enough gameplay. I want more gameplay." And I'm like, "But you don't fucking like gameplay in your games. You like just watching the cutscenes.
yeah.
Yet you're crying for gameplay on these shows." And I'm like, "Good lord, make up
Okay,
your
you
mind."
know what? You mentioned that. Okay, so there's a game that everyone loves to hate. It's like the in thing to hate this game, and I actually love it. And that's dun, 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 The Last of Us Part Two. Yes, I actually love The Last
Yeah,
of Us Part Two.
I like Last of Us Part Two. I didn't like the first Last of Us,
Yeah,
but I
and
like Part Two.
I admit I enjoyed the first one, but I like the second one better. And you know what? I will defend that story to the end because I thought it was really good. Now, story aside, it just blew away the first one gameplay wise.
Yeah,
The stealth was almost Metal Gear level. It was impressive. The AI and everything, and the just the fighting and the shooting mechanics and how open it was, how many ways you can go about getting past the scene was just amazing. And everyone completely overlooks that. They don't like the fact that Joel died. And yeah, that's a spoiler, but if you don't know by now, he dies in the beginning.
yeah. I
I'm gonna,
mean, who
but
did
that's not
a year
just
before the game come out? I knew that what they
I
were
know,
going to do.
but you know what? That's not everyone's focused on that, but that's not the big deal of the whole story and everything that goes on. Just, just go in it with an open mind. I think you'll
Yeah.
enjoy it, and that's my advice to people who haven't played
I
it yet.
wanted to dislike it. I'm telling you, I wanted to hate it because I didn't really care for the first one. I thought it was way overblown, uh, too much watching, not enough gameplay, uh, and it was pulling on the heartstrings type garbage. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I just thought it was another Sony overblown, overhyped, not a very good game. But on the second one, they did what they did, and I got nothing but respect for them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Now it may
anyway,
not. Who knows? There'll be a third one. That dude that does that runs that studio. I think he took some of that to heart. Some of the criticism he got for it.
Neil
And
Degman. Yeah,
yeah,
actually, from what I understand, this is take this with a grain of salt. This is strictly rumor territory, but he is penning. Doesn't mean it'll happen. Part three. He actually has an idea for the story for the next chapter. Now, whether or not it comes to fruition, we won't know for years.
yeah,
But
'cause they're already doing. They're working on a new IP right now. So,
yeah, and so we'll see. We'll see what happens. I mean,
and he may do it, but I just know like he stuck to his guns so far on Uncharted. Uh, now, now there's supposed to be some. other studio that Sony has contracted. They either own or they've contracted to make an Uncharted game. But we'll see. I've not seen anything concrete. That's just rumors I've heard, and it would make sense to me because he can't keep Sony. He doesn't personally own the rights to those games, and I don't think his studio owns the rights to them.
Right.
Or even if the studio did, that means Sony would. Sony does because Sony owns his studio. But I don't know. I just think he's not going to do it. But I think he's okay with maybe letting somebody else do it. But who knows? There's Microsoft sets on IPs like fucking crazy. I've never understood it. And I'm not talking like Banjo Kazooie. I'm one of the few people that say, I don't want a fucking Banjo game. That's a kiddie game. I just don't. I'm sorry. I do want a Laura Croft game.
Well, they got some
Later
good
on
ones. I
that,
mean,
but what's the other one? The one with the chick that they are doing. I'm really happy about that. Um,
that narrows it down to a lot. um,
Man, they just had a big announcement. Not this one, but last year they showed it. It originally came out on
oh, is it
Nintendo.
Sakura? Sakura? I'm
No, the
horrible.
one with the chick.
Let's check.
It was the follow up to GoldenEye of all things, because they couldn't get the Bond.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Perfect Dark. Joanna
Perfect
Dark.
Dark.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm glad that's coming, but I just don't understand how you can set on certain IPs and not make a game, and then, but because they don't have that many, I mean, compared to say what Sony does, so or what Nintendo does.
No, but speaking of Xbox, one game that I'm really looking forward to personally, I mean, it's a couple. That's not just one, but is Forza 5. That looks just amazing to me. I'm a
Yeah,
racer
that's
fan.
amazing. I was on somebody else's show on Thursday night. Xbox 449. Yeah, but I was joking that hey, I want like hookers and cocaine and cops in my Forza game because Forza's you're racing to a picnic or whatever the fuck it is. I find that boring. I really do. I know they're top notch graphically and they're top notch gameplay wise on the how the cars drive and what they do and all that kind of stuff. But it's like racing
You
to a
want like
picnic.
a Grand Theft Auto experience?
Well, I want the old like Need for Speed games and
Oh, those are
that
good.
kind of stuff. And there's been other ones besides Need for Speed. I can't think of the name of all of them, but I want, like I said, I want like cocaine and cops and hookers and almost like what's the big one?
GTA.
Yeah, like Grand Theft Auto,
Yeah,
but have it just like Forza Horizons are now,
it's
but with
funny.
that
Like
stuff added to them.
I think that they had a game called Driver that was just like that. They never did it. They let that IP die, and kind of I could see why they integrated that type into GTA. But that was a pretty decent game for its time. And that was just like that. It had like you basically a getaway driver and had all
Yeah,
that stuff. So yeah, good old Rockstar. Although I love to see if they'll ever do GTA 6, maybe in a couple of years after they re-release 5 for the 14th time.
yeah,
It's getting to the point where GTA 5 is being released more than Skyrim.
yeah. That's the truth.
I mean, yeah, I
That's
played
the
it. I
whole
liked it. I
industry
enjoyed
wants
it.
that. Though. Everybody wants their game that they don't have to do a sequel to anymore. They just got to do updates to it every so often and keep it alive. As long as it's pulling in money, everybody wants that cash cow games, and in some cases, it's the console makers themselves, all of Microsoft with a studio like Rare with Sea of Thieves. I mean, that's what's amazing. The Sea of Thieves with the Johnny Depp thing,
Oh yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean. That's an actual partnership with Disney. I mean, holy shit! That was one of the most hated games when it came out. The whole uh,
I don't know why
Candy.
that. I don't know why the hate. It was okay. I mean, it wasn't quite my cup of tea, but I appreciated it for what it is.
Yeah, that's never been mine. I'm a hardcore single player guy, and it's always
Yeah.
pissed me off that It's hard to play, and you're supposed to be able to play a single player, but it's not. It's not very fun by yourself. I've
Yeah,
tried, but I haven't even done this Johnny Depp thing yet. But supposedly this is like a basically a single player campaign, and there's other single player, almost maybe like little mini campaigns or mini things you can do that's came out over the last couple of years for Sea of Thieves. So I need to get into it and try some of that stuff because it's free. Why not? I mean, but I don't know how they're making their money off of that. But and it's probably a couple years away before Rare's next game because that Everwild, it looked pretty, but they didn't even have us what the game was going to be yet.
I know.
They just recently hired the game director. So and then the people that were there that was on that project was just a handful of people, and it was a passion project or whatever that's going to maybe be their next big ongoing kind of game. So I don't know. I don't like that kind of stuff. Though. I like stuff to end, and give me a sequel. I want that number 2 or that Ratchet and Clank 19. I fucking like that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with that.
Which, by the way, I did play it, and it is amazing.
Yeah, it looks amazing. I do joke about it a lot being number 19. It's really not. It's the 19th time. Yeah, it's the 19th time the game's been out on something, but sometimes it was the same game.
Yeah.
It was just a
Well,
port.
what I like about this is this one actually kind of goes back to the overall story arc, to the whole mythos behind, Ratchet and
Well,
Clank.
the one on the PS4 was actually just a remake of the
It
very first
was.
game, right?
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
that's what I thought.
This one is like a true sequel to the whole, series. So it's like the latest. It takes place years after they, defeated Nefarious, and it kind of goes from there. I'm not going to ruin it for people because there actually is some plot twists in there, but it's really good. It's a lot of fun.
How long did it take you to complete it? I've been
About
hearing
10
8 to
hours.
12.
Yeah, about 10 hours. But
Okay, you
but
said 10. That's what
but
I'm hearing. 8 to 12.
but there's a new game plus, and then the new game plus they even open up more weapons and more items. I mean, yeah, it's the same game,
Yeah, I
but they
don't know.
open up a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah, but new game plus. I'd rather have real DLC and
and that might come still. To be honest, it was the perfect length. It wasn't too long. It wasn't too short. It was just for like someone like me who doesn't have a whole lot of time. It was just right.
yeah, I won't knock a 10-hour game. Most of the uh, Gears of Wars were always only 8, 10, 12 hours
Yeah.
tops.
And the
So
thing is, the reason I like New Game Plus is because I don't mind. Okay, great example of a short game that was even less, that was even shorter than Ratchet and Clank was Resident Evil Village or Resident Evil 8. That was pretty short.
yeah,
But I went through it like 7 or 8 times, and it was just so much fun. And the New Game Plus and just earning stuff over time was just awesome to me. And yeah, you can actually be once you get the like unlimited Magnum. Oh boy, you can beat the whole game. I mean, assuming you don't take any side trips or anything, in under 2 hours.
do you think it's going to come out for the PS4?
What? Which one?
Ratchet and Clank.
No, I don't.
I kind of
If they
do.
well, here's the reason. If they do, it will be a greatly diminished experience because it rides on the whole dimension thing. And there's more going on in the background, where it has to literally you walk through a dimension and it loads the whole level on the fly. There's not even a pause. It just boom, there it is.
Well, that's where they'll
And
make that where when you do that, it'll be like getting into a elevator. Well, instead of up and down, it'll be
yeah, I mean
stepping
technically they
forward,
could do it. I
and
mean,
you'll have a 10-second delay, and then all that shit will get loaded.
I'll
I
be
think they're doing
honest,
it. I think they're already working on it. I've been hearing rumors.
and it's
Uh,
possible. I mean, can it be done? Sure. Will it be the same experience? Hell no.
the thing was,
But
Sony. All right, here's what happened. All right, they did not expect not to have PS5s out on the market, and no matter what they falsified numbers or whatever about how many's been sold and all that, the truth is, I mean, no sooner than they came out, you haven't been able to buy them. You can't fucking walk into a store, so you can't tell me it's been a smashing success. And it's the same for Microsoft. These consoles can't be bought. If you can't buy something, it's not a fucking success until you finally get enough of them out there.
That's true
And
enough.
and the
Yep.
thing is, they didn't have enough of them out there, and Sony didn't realize this was going to happen. If you look back, some of the rhetoric coming out was, well, we're going to be the fastest moving from PS4 to PS5 that we've ever done. Blah blah blah. And I think they believed that crap, and well, they knew how well it was going to sell. I even knew that. I knew that Microsoft, whatever Xbox they put out, was going to sell
Oh
great.
yeah.
You had to look at the people snapped up those mid-gen consoles like crazy. People snapped up even when it was just the same console, but a new colored shell or painted, custom, whatever console. People would just snap that crap up, and no matter how people want to say consoles are dead, this is their last gen, and everything's gone to.
Yeah. No, I don't
It's
think
like
so.
people love consoles, but anyway, I think Sony, they needed content. They knew Microsoft was behind them. Okay. And they knew they were going to have more big time games to the market first. And I think they pushed some of their people to get those games out. And those devs did a damn good job for them. And they got them games out. And then Sony was like, fuck, we don't have the consoles for this. And so they had to kind of backtrack. And there's been a couple of games so far, just a couple, that they were never meant to be on the PS4. They're like, fuck it, we need to put it on there because we didn't sell enough. I mean, even Ratchet and Clank, I'm telling you, it came out and nobody gave a shit. Everybody was still talking about E3 and how that Microsoft's amazing show because there's just not enough PS5 owners. And all them PS4 people that haven't been able to upgrade yet, they just can't play Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
And
I'm sure they're coming out with you're right. They're probably coming out with a version of it, and I'm
and
sure it'll be
well,
perfectly playable.
and this may be the one that they draw the line on. I don't know, but I just know that I've heard that they have been working on it. That it's not as simple as like some of the other ones where uh, what's the one that was just a remake that came out as the console launched?
Demon Souls.
Yeah, that's coming from. Is it already out on the PS4? It's coming to the PS4, and it was like a very simple port for the PS4. Not a big deal. Whereas Ratchet and Clank is causing them problems because the transitions or whatever, and they've got to cut a bunch of stuff out. And you're right; it probably won't be nearly as good as an experience.
Yeah, I
But,
can tell you right away. It's going to
but the
only
game was way
30
too short. I
frames.
thought maybe too short because they did rush them to get it out. I mean, look at the Spider-Man game. That's amazing, but that's fucking DLC. I don't care what
Well,
anybody says. That was DLC that got stretched a little bit, and then they released it as a standalone game because they had to have content for the PS5 when it dropped.
well,
And
to be
then,
honest, yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right there. But Ratchet and Clank does feel like a full game. It doesn't feel
oh
to
yeah, I'm
me.
not saying Ratchet. Don't get me wrong. That's not DLC.
Yeah,
Ratchet and Clank was a complete game, uh, but it was still, I think, kind of. I don't want to say it was rushed, but yeah, it was kind of rushed because they had to have it, as soon as they could, and then they didn't have consoles for people to play it on, and I think because of that, that made them kind of scratch their head and say, "Well, what can we do to get this out on the PS4?" Because you're looking next year sometime before they really, truly get these consoles out on store shelves
yeah,
where anybody and everybody can just go buy them at any given time, and that's when you get a game like Ratchet and Clank would have caused a spike in console sales. Nope, not this time because there was no consoles to buy.
right.
And you know what I'm saying? They've got some big games coming, and you can't. They need that. That's how you keep console sales at a steady pace. Is because you keep releasing new games for it at a certain cadence. Whether it's two big AAA games a year, and then two more double A to triple A, but not as big as your other two. So about four exclusives coming out of say Sony or Microsoft, and then in Sony's case, you'd probably get two more games that were third party, but we're still getting exclusives. So you're looking at about every other month you were getting something, and it would keep that sales going until you hit a big holiday or till you hit the big Christmas time. Um, and yeah, they just don't have the consoles for that. That's the whole thing what I was talking about earlier, where they're going to that 5 nanometer chipset now. They can't wait. And no jokes aside, nothing about fixing the overheating issue or glitchy issues. This is a fuck. There's just not enough chips, and here's a by going to this shrunk die. Nobody else is using that 5 nanometer right now. They're not going into cars. They're not going into laptops or whatever. They will eventually, but right now they're not. And Sony probably secured a fuck ton of them already. They probably bought them dies, and then so when they get ready to switch over that, they start coming off the factory next year. Uh, yeah, they won't be any more shortages. They'll just flow like butter. Or that doesn't make sense, flow like butter, but they'll have plenty. I don't know what Microsoft's fix is, if they even have a fix. They just maybe they'll maybe because Sony's coming off the 6 nanometer die. Because going from 6 to 5 is not. That's why they're not going to a smaller case than anything. Because they're not. That's you really got to go from to 4 nanometer before it gets small enough.
Yeah.
It would make sense to just. And Sony will eventually go to a 4 nanometer too. By the way, that will happen 2 years, 3 years from now. I don't know when, but they'll go to a 4 nanometer one, and they'll have a shrunken down, a PS at that point. But maybe when Sony comes off the 5 or the 6 nanometer chipset, then there'll be enough of them for Microsoft to be able to get theirs out. I don't know. I don't know what they're how all that 100% how all that plays out. But apparently, with the S, even though it uses the same 6 nanometer chipset, uh, there's something about the die on that too that where it's not as they can get more of them. Somebody explained it to me about a month ago. I then forgot, but apparently it's easier for Microsoft to get those produced than the X or Sony getting the PS5 produced. So supposedly we're going to keep seeing lots of S's out there, and that could be not that it's easier. That could just be Microsoft thinking they're going to sell more of those, and come holiday or Black Fridays, they'll be able to reduce the price even more on those, and they
Yeah.
want more of them out there.
I could see that peak going down to 250, like, Black
Yeah.
Friday. Easy.
Of course, it's only year one. Does that ever happen? You get well, it has happened like on some consoles that they come out of the gate sluggish. I know Nintendo did it with the uh, what was the last Game Boy Advance? Not Advance, 3D, whatever.
3DS.
Yeah, the 3D, the original 3DS, that came out of the gate pretty damn slow. And Nintendo, within 4 months, I think it was, they hacked off some money off the price and added a game so that you went and bought it. You were getting a game and you were getting the console cheaper. And man, it took off after that, and it sold great. And it was, which is so weird because their home version, died a slow and painful death uh, after only 4 years. And then, of course, the Switch brought everything back.
The Wii U. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was trying to think if like Sony or Microsoft. Microsoft actually, well, they did the Xbox One. They pulled, but they did that by pulling the camera out. So it wasn't really a true reduction. I remember that November of 2014, you couldn't buy Xbox Ones at reduced price. They were the same thing. They were not selling them for any less. They were just selling them. They were cheaper because they no longer had the camera in them, so they were the same price as a PS4. It wasn't until 2015 that when they announced the S and the X that would be coming, and then that's when they started having the first Black Friday sales, and then you started being able to get those consoles cheaper. But it usually takes till they reduce it. Now seems to be the way it went in the last, like with the PS3 and the PS4.
Right.
The PS3 didn't actually price reduce until later. They just had multiple SKUs. A lot of people forget that, and it was because of the hard drives. But they had a lot of different SKUs, but it wasn't until the middle of the gen before they actually started ripping shit out of it and making it smaller, and then they were selling them cheaper. I know that first big time they did that, I don't think it was much cheaper at all. Uh,
Well, they did end up cutting the price just to stay competitive. So the first iteration wasn't, you're right, wasn't much cheaper than after, they bit the bullet and said, okay, we have to get this down in price. Then eventually it started to come down to like normal levels. Yeah,
yeah,
they did the slim and then they did the super slim one.
but I mean, by the time that first PS3 came out, wasn't 360s stripped down models? Well, I guess you wouldn't call it stripped down model. It was whatever they were
The smaller one.
sell. Well, but they didn't start selling that smaller one till later. But I
Yeah,
think they were already down to like 250. But I
I
could be
think
wrong.
you're
Maybe it
right.
was 350. I don't know.
I don't
Because
remember.
the
I don't
original
know.
PS3s were 600.
Yeah.
The ones that had the full size hard drive and then all of the different little connectors and things on it. And then they had two other ones that had smaller hard drives right off the bat. They had three SKUs right off the bat. But I think that one SKU that had the smallest hard drive, you couldn't find those forever. They had, I think mostly they had made the 80 and the 60. I think it was a 40, or it might have been 20,
I think it was 20. Yeah.
20, 40, 80, or 20, 60, 80. I can't remember now.
It was pretty low. It was pretty
Yeah,
low.
but those were real hard to find because they just didn't make many of them. But then eventually they pulled out all those different connectors and things and shrank them down. But that's got really nothing to do with the S, which is kind of what the S was right off the bat. It was pretty brilliant on Microsoft's part. I kind of mentioned that earlier as well. Why I think that console is selling well in Japan, and I think it'll continue to sell well in Japan. Is it going to be number one? No. Is it going to be number two? No. But it won't be embarrassing. You won't see, 2,000 uh, Switches sold, 1,100 PS5 sold, and then like 20 Xboxes. It's not gonna be like that anymore.
Yeah.
There was some weeks it was really embarrassing with the Japan sales for the Xbox. I mean, it literally was sub 100 on any given month when they would release those numbers. It was really sad.
So, but yeah, no, but it was overall I thought it was a good E3. I know that some people I enjoyed the Nintendo one more than most people did.
Let's get into that then.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Metroid.
Yep.
Uh,
So I actually watched the. Uh, they did collectively about 40 minutes of playthrough on the Treehouse. After I don't know if you watched that.
I did not watch the whole Treehouse thing. I should have, but I didn't.
It's okay. So I watched it, and there's a lot going on there with Metroid. A lot more than those trailers show. I mean,
Well,
it
let me
was
tell
pretty
you what I
impressive.
think, though. I think because they had to start from scratch on Prime because they lost a whole year with that one developer
Yeah,
who did a poor job, and they had to go back to the original Prime guys. And they're like, well, we got to get something. So they rushed a 2D Metroid, and that's what's coming. But now, well, is that rushed? I don't know. I shouldn't say things like
I
that.
don't think it
It's a bit
is. From what
flippant.
I've seen, I don't think so. Plus, it's
I
coming
hope
out in
not. I
October.
hope not, because I'm a 2D guy. I'm not a big fan of Prime. I'm not a hater either, but I much prefer the 2D Metroids.
I understand. No, that's fine. No, it looks really good. It's done by the same people who did the Samus Returns remake, Mercury Steam, and you could definitely see it, in how they handled it, but just the animations and like stuff that's going on in the background. Like if you watch the actual gameplay, and just little things like they added in, like how Samus will actually hold on to a wall, or to balance herself when she's shooting. It's all organic and very very nice. It's really well done. So
I hope. I love a good
that's
shooting
yeah.
game.
I'm really hoping that it's all that and more. I mean, it looks great. I like the fact that I like the dynamic of the Evie, Emmy. That's it. Where you really can't. There's different Emmys, and you really can't get away from them. And if it even hears you, it will follow you. And if it finds you, you have to get away from it and hide because it locks the doors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really. I can see the whole dread portion of it. I mean, it's because it's like you can't defeat them at the beginning,
Yeah,
and you have to.
till you
Yeah,
unlock certain stuff and go back and find
and
other weapons.
it does follow you from room to room. It's not like just locked into a room. So you really have to, be smart and, really get far away from it because it just randomly comes out and you can hear it because it makes a sound. But when you hear that, it kind of reminds me of a 2.5D alien isolation. We always have this thing hunting you, and you really, really just have to get away from it. You can't fight it. And just from what I've seen, like I said, this is the first 40 minutes. I was impressed. I was impressed. So
When
I
did
have
they
high
say
hopes
they're
for it.
coming out?
Oh, it's October. I don't remember when specifically, but it's in October.
Hopefully, it'll come out at the same time as the premium Switch or whatever they're going to end up calling that thing.
I think you were right what you said to my Twitter about how I see it coming out, the premium Switch or the Switch Pro, whatever they call it, in March.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I
March of
don't
next
see it
year.
coming out before then. I mean, we could be wrong because Nintendo's pretty good about surprise drops. It's like, oh, by
Even
the way, hey, this is coming out next month. Like, oh, cool. I mean, nobody expected Metroid, let alone to come out in October.
yeah.
So there's that. Um,
Well, I wanted to go just. In fact, it's not that I want to. There is no doubt because I'm getting this late into collecting for the Switch. Because even though we've had a Switch here, that's basically my son's Switch. And there's been a few games I've had him buy for me, but he just downloaded them, whatever. But I thought, well, maybe since I'm getting the new Switch when it comes out, I'd start buying physical. But I don't want to do that because there's so many great physical games that you can't get copies of, and they're not doing new runs of those.
no, that's the one
And
thing that
I don't want to get into collecting when I can't buy something. Thank God you can buy everything electronically.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, they always might be a few cases where there might be something that you can't get for some reason or another, but 99% of everything can be downloaded. And I'm fine with that. As long as I've got a big enough SD card to slap in that thing that I can, yeah, I'm good to go.
Right. Right, exactly. Um and yeah, I mean there's definitely some good stuff. My only fear is this, and I'll be honest, and a lot of people have voiced this too. Just because let's face it, we know Nintendo a little too well, is that all the Switch Pro will be, it's a better screen, a better battery life, and that's about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
You know,
You can't.
I don't
Well,
think it's
first of
going to
all, you
improve
can't
the
make it.
performance at all.
You can't make it so that you have to have two different versions of games built. First of
Right.
all, they don't want that. I mean, they could do that, but you don't. They don't want that. They don't want to put that onto the devs just because they have a hard enough time getting third party devs to make games, and they all want to make games for the Switch, but it's hard on certain games. It really is. So if you split it up, yeah, that's that. They're not going there. I'm telling you.
Yeah. I as much as I hate to say it, I think they're going to save the performance boost for the next, whatever the next system is.
Even with Microsoft, and I'm not sure how Sony handled it with their dev kits for the PS4 and PS4 Pro, but the truth was those versions of those games really were flip a switch on the dev kit and recompile the game, and then whatever was new would be on there it wasn't that big a deal for them, and Microsoft says the same thing now. Between the Series S and the Series X, the way what limitations that the S has, it doesn't make the dev have to do any additional work to get that game to play on the S. It's basically they use the same dev kit, and yeah, you start programming the game, and then it basically kind of does that for them when they're pushing it down to the S. It knows how to scale or whatever.
Right.
But they made it so it's not really two versions of the game. It's the game and a scaled down version of the game, but it doesn't cause you don't have to do any programming to do that.
Well, I don't think there was much of a difference between the PS4 and the PS4 Pro because everything was Pro enhanced, just like everything was like the Xbox One.
Yeah.
It was enhanced. I don't think that that's really much of an issue, to be
No,
honest.
I
It's
think it
not,
was the same thing there. It was all done just scaled down.
that and the fact that you really got to look at it from a PC level. PC games have to be created that they could work with just about any hardware. There's a lot of hardware out there.
Yeah.
So I think it's along the same lines as that. So that's why I don't think that it'll be that difficult for them to do like a Switch Pro with extra performance. Just a little boost, just like a frame rate boost. It doesn't have to be anything crazy or a resolution
Yeah,
boost.
I'm thinking
That's it.
they're gonna build that into the new dock. The dock is
And
gonna
that would be
output
fine.
somehow that'll give you a higher frame rate on your. I don't
You
know
know
how
what?
it'll work, but you'll get a.
Well, it's not unlike, having a coprocessor. They just got to put and that's one thing that with the Switch Pro they might have to. That's why they probably can't do it with the original Switch is because they're probably going to have to put something in there that links up or it recognizes that there's a second processor and up everything. Um, I don't know. I'm not much of an engineer when it comes to that at all.
Yeah, I
Well,
just
not an
know that
engineer
they
at
can't.
all. Not much of
You
nothing.
can't have a game that'll only play on the new Switch Pro.
No, and I agree with you.
It's got to play on the old one, and
It's going to be backward compatible. I don't think it's going to be as tricky as you think, but at the same time, I don't think it's going to be what
yeah, I don't think
everyone
it'll be that big a
wants.
deal because it's not
Yeah,
that way. That's what I'm saying. It's not that way now with the
yeah,
S and the X or in the last gen with the PS4 and the
sure.
Pro.
So
They
I think it'll be.
kind of know what they're doing on that stuff.
I do. I think it'll be fine. I think it's just a matter of they gotta just focus on just bridging the gap a little bit until the next iteration. This way they don't lose the third parties. So, but we'll
But
see.
I'm looking forward to getting to that Switch, and then I got to start trying to hunt down certain games and things without killing myself as far as price. And that may be something I take with me. If it's out in October, I may be able to get that new Switch by the time I head overseas because I don't know 100% when I'll be leaving. I'm shooting for early October, but if it ends up being November, that's fine. Now, if it gets much past that, let's say that we get into early December, I'll probably just stay here through Christmas, and then after the first of the year next year, then head over. A lot of it depends on health, the stuff I got coming up, and how all that goes, and then the other thing on how stuff overseas opens up as far as travel restrictions and all that.
Right.
But I'd love to have a Switch with me over there because I'm going to be taking an S with me for sure. I already made up my mind. I'm going to buy an S, have in my suitcase, but I wouldn't mind having with a Switch. I'd put that in my backpack, and
Oh
I'll
yeah.
take the one suitcase that'll have the X in it, not the X, the S.
That's one thing I do like about the Switch. Despite the fact that it's not the most powerful thing in the world. Yes, it's the weakest of the bunch, but the fact that the portability it just sells it for me. It's just so much easier.
Yeah, I took the uh, my son's Switch with me when I went to Germany. Uh, I won't say last year, but that's been more than a year now. But it was the year before. So, but yeah, everything fit real well. The dock and I think even then the console itself I kept in the backpack. The dock I had in the charging wires and all that stuff I kept in the suitcase as well as my extra phone chargers. And then I just took my phone, and then, which while traveling, I set it up with Verizon where I would be able to send text as long as I was on Wi-Fi. Of course, I could do text, and then I could send a certain amount of ones even when I wasn't on Wi-Fi. Um, and then as long as I didn't over send too many, it wasn't very expensive. And most of the time, except while I was traveling, there was a couple times where it was a little iffy traveling where I couldn't get Wi-Fi. Well, there was mostly some of the airports, yeah, but not all of them. Was able to get Wi-Fi. But once I got over there, then I was on my son's Wi-Fi at his house. But when we were in and around other places, traveling while I was over there, I couldn't do nothing with my phone. But if I even then, if I sent a text, I had to pay. But I was allowed to send so many. I can't remember what the deal was, but it wasn't. Yeah, It was like every 5 texts or 10 texts was X amount of dollars. It wasn't very good, but it was enough. And then, like I said, when I was on Wi-Fi, I could text all I wanted, or get on Skype, or get on Facebook Messenger, and all that's free. So, but this time I'll have to. I'm going to take my phone, but I'll have to get a new SIM card for it when I get over there, and then get on some phone plan over there. Because I'm not going to fool with that. Only
Yeah.
being, only being able to use my phone when I'm in Wi-Fi. That's not going to cut it. That's okay for. I was there 1 month when I went to see my grandson, but in this case, since I'll be living over there, I want to make sure I got. Yeah, I'll just get a new SIM card. I don't want to get a new phone. Although I might, you never know. But that seems kind of like wasting money. I think my phone will work fine. Although I don't know that for a fact. I don't know if it's what do you call that when you buy a phone and it can work on any system? They got a word they use.
Not
Yeah,
universal. Is it? Oh,
no,
jailbreak. Jailbreak.
yeah. I
Jailbroken
don't
phone.
know that
Yeah.
mine is a jailbroken phone. I don't think it is. I bought it through Verizon, but it's just a Samsung Note 20. Uh, so I don't know. I'm assuming I can just get a new SIM card over there, but we'll see.
Well, I can tell you that the T-Mobile phones work that way. At least mine does. Just replace the SIM card because it was Sprint. I did replace the SIM card, and now it's a T-Mobile. It was that simple. So I pretty sure it
Yeah, a
is.
lot of most.
But
I think more often than not nowadays, most phones are jailbroken off the bat. But there was a time if you bought a Samsung
oh yeah, you were
S,
locked.
some of those
Yeah.
S ones, they were locked to whoever you bought them with. You could only use them with Verizon, or you could only use them with T-Mobile, or you could only use them with whatever carrier that you were. And that was kind of I always thought was garbage, but in many of those cases they were selling you that phone at such a reduced price, if not just give it to you free for signing up on their thing. So I understood that. But when you're buying their premium phone and you're spending more money, then yeah, I should be able to put any SIM card in this.
Yeah.
And the key will be is not losing that SIM card.
Right.
I really don't want to take it with me, but I think I'll have to just for the travel portion. Again, I will use whatever Verizon's overseas thing is, so I can like text and let people know where I'm at until I get over there, and then find me a good deal and get a new SIM card. But anyway, stop. Enough about my travel. We got much to talk about that because I'm not leaving until after October. Movies. What have you seen? Anything? You went going to the theater? Or?
Nothing new. At least recently. I mean, I watched some of the like Robin the Last Dragon on Disney. That was pretty good. I enjoyed that. God, there's another Disney movie I watched too. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, Soul. Um, with Jamie Foxx. It was
Mhm.
animated. That was actually pretty enjoyable too. I enjoyed those. So that's really it. I haven't really watched anything like newish per se.
Hey, our live streams up. I was on YouTube with the sound turned down, but when I clicked, I had like the John Champia show, whatever was on.
Sure.
I wasn't watching his show, by the way. I was watching something else, and whatever I was watching ended, and it just jumped to his podcast. But anyway, when I hit the back button, it shows us, which is cool. I'm going to click on it for so at least we got one.
You're watching your own show. There's still
Yeah,
meta about
I'm waiting
that.
to see if it changes from 0 to 1, but nothing so far. That sometimes that can take about a minute to catch up.
Yeah.
But anyway, you know what I've been doing is I've been watching a lot of the older Marvel movies. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
I started watching. Well, I've been watching Loki first three weeks now, and
I have not watched that
oh,
yet. I have to. I know. I gotta
good.
sit with these.
It's
Work's
good.
been nuts. This is a bad year because I work in financials, and this is the year end, fiscal year end for a lot of companies. So yeah, I'm gonna be pretty swamped through July. But yeah, I'm gonna watch what I can. Loki, I heard, is really good.
Yeah, it really is. But because I was watching it, I went back and for whatever reason I watched the first Thor, and then after I watched the first Thor, I watched Iron Man 1, and then I watched Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. Fuck, that is so good. That movie is so. And I've probably seen it 10 times, and yeah, I watched it again. I watched that one today. I'm like, oh, it's amazing. And then the weekend before, I had watched all three of the Captain America ones: the First Avenger and Winter Soldier, and then uh, uh, the one with the big airport scene. Shit, the one that introduced Spider Man. It's
Oh
more,
yeah.
I
Um.
never think of the name because it's more like Avengers 1.5 or 2.5, whatever it's
Yeah.
called.
Civil War.
Civil War, yeah.
Yeah.
So I watched those three last weekend, and all those other ones I told you about this weekend. Uh, and man, those movies are so good. And there's like 20. I think I've watched 7 or 8, but yeah, I just watched the ones I like best. And it's not that I dislike any of them, but there's some I don't like as well as others, of course. But I did notice a couple of things on Disney for the Marvel that I hadn't seen in the past. Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon show that ran 3 seasons.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It was pretty horrible. At least the first few episodes. I couldn't watch it anymore. Maybe it gets better.
It gets a little better, but don't expect any
Yeah, the
miracles.
voice, yeah, not having the same voices really threw me off. Then there was like a 1 season one of just uh, Rocket and the tree guy
Groot.
group.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really bad because they redesigned Rocket.
I did not like that design at all.
Yeah, it was like a little kid's drawing of him, and I did not
Yeah.
do it. I
I
didn't watch none of the episodes. I just kind of looked at the thumbnail on there of it, and I did. I actually clicked on it, but then I didn't hit click once it came up. I didn't click hit play because I had went back a few weeks ago and rewatched the first couple seasons of the Earth's Mightiest Heroes or whatever that was called.
yeah.
That was
Right.
damn good, and then something happened where they changed the people behind it. I know what it was. They it wasn't close enough to the movies, and I guess they made the people doing the show kind of change the format to be more in line with the movies, supposedly. And I guess it lost viewership, but yet I couldn't tell the difference. The episodes they always seemed the same to me. It was the same people making it and the same voices, so I like that a lot. I think it was called Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it either, but yeah.
But that was really good. And I think they did a Spider-Man one where they kind of bitch slapped him and made him like a beggar wannabe to be in the Avengers. And I think that's when they were still negotiating to get Spider-Man in their movies, and so they abused him on the animation side, which they had the right to do whatever they wanted. because they still owned that. But and even those cartoons wasn't too bad. But they were like he was always like wanting to be an Avenger, and it was pretty. I don't know. It was like stop the whining, just let him fight his bad guys. But eventually, it had the Sinister Six and all that in it, and it was pretty good for animation. DC's always been head and shoulders above Marvel for animation, but now that I'm seeing all, and I had a lot of these on DVD. I don't think I had any Marvel Blu-rays from animation, but I had a lot of stuff on DVD. But now seeing it all curated on that Disney Channel in one place, it's a little better than I remember it being. But yeah, that's been my big thing over the last weekend, this weekend was rewatching some Marvel movies. I think too because I'm worried I'm gonna be disappointed in this new wave. Although I think I think the virus situation really helped Marvel. I think they needed a year without any big Marvel movies at the theater. I mean, considering how big uh, Endgame and whatever the last one was called.
Yeah, there was an Infinity War in Endgame.
Right after how big Infinity War was and then Endgame, I just think they needed the extra time it's taken to get their movies to the theater. It's more than a year. It's really a year and a half.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
In a long time, and they needed that. And because I think their upcoming slate, I don't like a lot of it. There's a lot of I think the internals. I'm just not a fan of that stuff. Now maybe they'll wow me because it's people doing movies and they know what they're doing and they'll be great. But I just never liked that crap in the comics and really disliked it. So I don't know that I'll be fans of the movies, but I won't count them out. Uh, well, we'll see. Shang Chi, which they're already getting mad because it's always been Shang Chi, but now it's like Shang, and even the Chi isn't pronounced as Chi if you pronounce it correctly, apparently. But apparently, I've never been pronouncing it correctly, but I've always heard it pronounced Shang Chi. But suddenly, on some of the YouTube uh, shows, they're not pronouncing it the way I'd always called it. But I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, that one looks okay, but maybe not great. Although having that Hulk character in it, did you catch that? With what's the one in the good Hulk movie that he fought?
Oh, are you talking about the Ragnarok?
No, in the first Hulk, not the first Hulk movie, the one with the guy that got rid of that actor.
Oh, Edward Norton.
Right, the bad guy, the
Yeah,
big
it was
villain.
Abomination. Yeah.
That's him. He's in. He's something in Shang Chi.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But it shows it real quick in the latest trailer, and they're in some kind of like I don't want to say futuristic, but some kind of weird, almost like a boxing ring or fight set up for like some kind of I don't know. It's weird. It's got a guy using that Doctor Strange magic that's fighting against him in it. But anyway, he's going to be in
Interesting.
there. I thought that was interesting because I think a lot of people ain't going to give a fuck about Shang Chi, and I know everybody hated on the other guy, Iron Fist, but
That was good. I
I'm
don't care what
telling you,
anyone
back in the
says.
days too, nobody ever liked the Shang Chi comics. They sucked. Everybody loved the Iron Fist comics. I think Microsoft really not Microsoft. My God, what am I saying? The Marvel
Marvel.
uh, really. I said Microsoft because I've got YouTube up on the screen and one of the tabs I'm looking at talking about Microsoft about Windows 11. But anyway,
Yeah, yeah, that's a whole
uh,
nother. Not gonna get into that right now, but
yeah, that's not. I don't even care one way or the other. They force you to that stuff, so it don't matter.
yeah.
Um, anyway, I just think they picked the wrong one. They let that TV show people get Iron Fist, and I liked the TV version. I didn't have a problem with that actor, and I actually liked the show.
Yeah, so did I.
Man, critics fucking hated it because it was a white dude being the hero, and that whole political correctness just they ruined it for it. And now Marvel don't want anything to do with the better character, so they're going all in on this one. But I'm like, this character was never cool in the comics. Nobody really liked it. It was kind of sucked, and nobody bought them, and they went away. It's just not. I know they tried to stick him in the Avengers down the road, anything they could do. But let's be honest, they've stuck everybody in the Avengers over the years. And,
Yeah.
and where I was rewatching those early movies, gave me more appreciation to that first Avengers movie. I really like that better, just having the 5 or 6 characters. If you look at fucking Endgame and um, the one before that, my God, and they had the big giant fight scene. Well, in both of them, they have it, and there's like so many on screen, and you don't get. And they'll switch to a one-on-one fight with somebody, but it's not quite the same as it just being about that character and seeing it. And I don't know. I think maybe too many, and I don't mean too many because I know that was one of the big criticisms of some of the early or comic book movies like Spider-Man 3. Oh, there was too many bad guys in it. No, it was just a bad movie.
Yeah, this
It had
wasn't
nothing to
very
do with
good.
having too many characters in it.
They could have done plenty of with all that, but they just didn't have the script. They just didn't.
Yeah, they
Very
rushed it.
simple.
He wasn't ready to do it. He told them he wanted to wait, and then they
He did
forced him
not
to
want to
do
use
it.
Venom at all, and I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with him. It sucks that they forced him.
yeah. I mean, if you're gonna use Venom, then you needed
That needs to
like
be
they're
its
doing
own
now, the Venom and the other one. What's the crazy one?
Carnage.
Yeah, they
Oh,
should have
that
waited, let Venom have his own movie with Carnage in it, and Spider
seriously.
Man. But yeah, they rushed it, and but then again, you're paid to make a movie, and you got to do what I don't know. Sometimes it works out great, and you get all these great Marvel movies, and other times certain things go down the toilet. I don't know, but I really liked that Venom movie when they did it. And it appeared Sony didn't know what they were kind of doing, but I don't know. Them 2 Spider-Man movies they made were fine. I think, except for there was a couple of X-Men movies that were really bad, and then there was the Fantastic Four movies that were not
I
very
like. Okay,
good.
okay. The first two Fantastic Four movies, while not works of art, were watchable. They were at least enjoyable and
First one,
campy.
I'll admit the first. I just actually rewatched that first one
Yeah,
today, actually, and it
it.
was watchable. But
Yeah, but
how Marvel knew that dude could become Captain America, I have no idea.
I know, I know. But hey, they worked. Now the reboot was
Oh
horrible.
yeah,
Oh
that's
my
where
god.
Josh Trank had the nervous breakdown during it, and he
Yeah.
wasn't ready for that big of a budget, and they kept making him change stuff, and that's happened so much. Even the great David Fincher, he wasn't the great David Fincher yet. They gave him Alien 3, and then bitch slapped him around until he made a movie that wasn't that great. It wasn't bad or anything, but you got to be able to stand up to them studio tops and be willing to walk if you got to. If they're not going to let you make the movie you want to make,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that Spider-Man movie, or not Spider-Man, the Fantastic Four was just hideous, horribly cast.
Yeah. They
And even by
rewrote
the
the.
second one, I don't think I can ever forgive them for that bad guy being a smoke monster or whatever.
Oh yeah, that Galactus.
Yeah,
It was
the
yeah.
Galactus is. And I think even now, Marvel is. I don't know that he's going to be the next phase big bad because he is Galactus, and he might be too big. Maybe they're waiting for technology to catch up, and then they'll do two
Uh,
more.
they can do it with the current technology, but they to do it right. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah, I think they're going to wait on him. I don't think he's.
You
And I
know,
don't know it's going
I
to be
think you're
Doctor
right.
Doom either. I think it might be the one that comes through time travel, and that worries me too about the new Fantastic Four that they're going to be doing. You know, everybody wants that couple that just did the movie where the alien monsters can hear you. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the A Quiet Place.
Yeah,
That one. Yeah.
that dude and his wife, who were, he directed those and wrote them, and then both of them. Well, he's barely in the new one, but she's full up in it. But anyway, everybody kind of wants them to be Reed Richards and Sue Storm. But they're doing. I think they got to make them black. Not there's anything wrong with that, but they're casting the guy that's the time travel guy that's Reed Richards' uh, great uncle or great great grandfather or something. I don't know. He's kin to Reed Richards, and they've cast that the actor they're casting is pretty good though. So I don't have a problem with that. But I'm just saying that's going to cause a yeah. I just don't know, man. It causes problems. It seems like when you do that, and you end up with not a very good movie.
Well, like I said, I don't care who they cast as an actor. It could be white, black, whatever, as long as they're a good actor and they're written well. Now, that's the actor's half of it. I mean, you can have the greatest actor in the world and your writing sucks.
Well,
There's
the
nothing
thing
they
is,
can do.
I worry that the fan base is already wanting so bad those two, that couple, that no matter, but the problem is how they don't know that it's not going to be that, because they've already said who they're casting as that Kang the Conqueror.
Right.
That's a black guy, and Kang is Reed Richards' relative. So that means Reed Richards is going to be black in the upcoming Fantastic Four they're doing. Now that don't mean it might just be him. I mean Sue Storm can still be white, which I could care less whether she's white or black. Uh, and same thing for Johnny Storm. I don't care. And it doesn't matter about the thing because he's made of rocks anyway.
Yeah.
So, but I worry that the fan base is who's going to be, they're going to have a problem with it not being who they want it to be, is what I'm trying to get at. Not
Yeah,
because they're
they're
black.
always they're always going to complain. You know, it
Sometimes
doesn't.
that affects movies to the point where they end up not being hits because of it, though, sometimes.
Yeah.
I think that's why Hollywood tries to keep a lot of that shit secret until it finally gets announced. They have to say who stuff is. But some of that they bring on their own too, because they have leaks and they do other shit. I don't know. We'll see. If anybody can do a good Fantastic Four movie, it's going to be Marvel, and with the people they got running the show over there
Yeah.
now. But I think it might be a while before we see the Fantastic Four in anything anyway. I don't know. I think they're going to just introduce them through other movies before they get their own movie. But Feige's that's a busy man, and he's not getting younger.
I know.
I mean, think about it. He just sheep herded 20 fucking movies, and about 8 of them topped $1 billion box office. I mean, it's unheard of, and yeah, he's you know, and they're talking about he's doing a Star Wars movie too in there now,
Oh man.
and yeah, and that's already greenlit, and he's working on that right now. So that's what I'm saying. That's where this whole conversation started. Was I'm like, maybe it's a good thing they've gotten this about a year and a half. When was the last one in the theater? It was a long time ago.
Oh yeah. It was one of the Spider-Man movies. I think it was Homecoming.
Oh, I wasn't even counting Spider Man shit because I count that as a Sony movie. I'm talking about just the big Marvel. And you're
Oh
right.
yeah,
It's not.
that's probably Endgame.
Marvel actually makes Spider Man. Sony just signs the checks. So yeah, you're right. That would have been the last one. But
Still,
before,
that was a long time ago.
yeah, but before that was the big one with the Avengers, and that's
Yeah,
by the
that's been.
time Black Widow releases, you're talking 2.5 years or more, at least 2 years from Spider Man. It's like crazy. Of course, Black Widow's been filmed. So they've had that in a can for over a year, but because of the virus and theaters being closed, they just hadn't wanted to release it. And I just watched the trailer on it today. Oh, that it looks good. Although I just think doing a movie out of time, where the character's already dead, and then we'll do one from before they died. That usually never works out really well because people they know the character's already dead. It's like, so you don't really want to watch knowing they're
Yeah,
going to die down the road. And you'd think Marvel would have known that. That's something that's always been Hollywood's had a problem with, where they'd kill a character and then people wanted it, and then they would,
watch they bring her back somehow.
yeah, and then they bring it back in a stupid way, and that pisses everybody off. Or they do hey, this is from 10 years before they died, a different little clip time of
Yeah,
their
kind of like
life.
what they did with Marvel, Miss Marvel,
Yeah,
Captain Marvel. That's it. That was in the past.
yeah, that well, and then they almost had to do it that way because of
True enough,
uh
but they didn't kill her character off. That's the
right.
key.
I
So
think they might as well have. They apparently that actress is, I don't know. There's some weird stuff going on there too, where they're talking about maybe she's only going to get one more movie, or I don't know, whatever's on her contract, but they're going to have, there's going to be a different not Ms. Marvel, but a different Captain Marvel coming. Whether it's that black girl from what was the TV show, uh, the first one that they did with Scarlet Witch, but they had a character on there who in the comics actually becomes Captain Marvel, and I think
well,
she's
the thing with
probably going to
Captain
replace it.
Yeah, the thing with Captain Marvel is it's not a specific character. It's just a multiple character. It's kind of like I mean, I know this isn't Marvel, but like the
Well,
Green Lantern has
yeah,
multiple, you
well,
know.
that's because it's failed in the comics so many times. People just never have been drawn to it. It was originally a dude, and then they got rid of the guy character, and then tried the female one, and that failed. And then they brought it back two other times with different females, and they've always failed. Hold on one second. Go ahead and talk about Captain Marvel for a second.
Right. Well, I enjoyed Captain Marvel for what it was. But yeah, I could see. Unfortunately, I can see they're recasting Brie Larson. Although I don't know, I liked her. I for what it was. Um, I just don't know how they're gonna because she's basically the Superman of this universe. So I don't know where they're gonna go with this, but I feel like they're gonna integrate it more into Guardians of the Galaxy. If anything, it just seems to make better sense, just from the trajectory that they're using.
Hold on one second. Keep
Yep.
going.
No, no. But because they'll rewrite it, but I feel like whatever they do, it'll be handled fairly competently. I mean, they've been pretty good with their track record so far. So yeah, time will tell. As far as that goes, but we don't really know yet because, like I said, we haven't really gotten to that next wave of movies just yet. Although the TV shows are starting to point to that direction. See, kind of supposedly the next oh gosh, what was it? Doctor Strange movie is supposed to introduce, sort of kickstart the next phase here. That's at least the rumor. I don't know how true that is. So we'll see. We'll definitely see.
Yeah, I don't think it's just the Doctor Strange movies kicking it off. It's
I think it's the TV shows too. To be honest with you.
yeah, they have, and what was I want to say? What is it? No, there's what's before Doctor Strange. Well, Spider Man's. See, the next Spider Man is before Doctor Strange, ain't it?
Well, true enough. I mean that's true. I just feel like that's just a gap, a bridge. I mean, I'm not knocking it.
Well, it's going to be part that's the whole multiverse thing. Is
Yeah.
it's not just the Doctor
Oh, you're
Strange
talking
movie.
about the okay. You were talking about the new Spider-Man movie, the one that's coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks. If the rumors are to be, believed, that could be incredible.
Well, they're real because DC's doing it too. Once DC realized that Marvel was bringing back the previous Spider Mans and they're going to put them in one movie, that's why they started getting those rumors about the Batmans. And then Keaton's on set now. I've already seen pictures, and so that's happening. But in the Flash, they're actually finally filming that Flash movie. Holy hell!
Wow.
Yeah, and they've killed that universe. Okay, they're like they hated it so bad, and they gotten rid of that guy, even though Time Warner just to put something on their streaming channel, let him finish his Justice League. But the Warner Brothers themselves, they don't want nothing to do with Zach, and they don't want nothing to do with his universe. But yet they're doing the Flash movie because it already been greenlit. But so apparently, yeah, it's going to be the where he goes back in time and creates a different timeline.
Flashpoint, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not going to be the standard Flashpoint. It's going to be a Flashpoint where when they come out of it, you can have a new Batman. You can have a new other people and get rid of the
Honestly, that's
previous.
probably the only way they're going to truly reboot this without it making too much, without being too much.
Yeah, because they're not people don't understand that one actor is so popular that played Superman. He's also the Witcher now.
Yeah. Oh God, I just had his name too. He's doing
British
so
guy.
good.
Yeah, busted. He broke the damn internet when he was like putting a PC together and doing it on YouTube. Uh, but he's not liked in Hollywood. Apparently, on set, he's a bit of an asshole, and he uses The Rock's manager. And apparently, he's made crazy demands for salary and other things on movies. And I think he's run his course with Warner Brothers. I don't think they want anything to do with him. So they're not going to let him be Superman again, even though people kind of want him to be Superman again. I know I do.
Yeah, I
They
liked him.
should have been a Man of Steel too. That was one of the great travesties of the last 20 years of all these great comic book movies. Is DC fucked up and didn't do a second and then a third Superman movie, and then they should have been two Batman movies with Ben Affleck, and then the Justice League stuff.
Yeah, I really like Ben Affleck as the Batman. I really
Yeah.
do.
Well,
He did a great job.
he's got a small part but I don't think he's actually. I think he's more Bruce Wayne in it than he is Batman, and his part's much smaller than um, Michael Keaton's part.
Kittens, yeah.
I think Keaton's in it a little bit more because I think Keaton twisted their arm. No, you want me back, motherfuckers? You're gonna have to pay. I'm hot now again. I'm back to being a star.
Yeah. I liked him as Vulture and the.
Yeah, that was a great casting. Doing that. And
Yeah.
that's where DC fucks up and Sony on their own fucks up. That was Marvel's genius. Hey, this guy used to be Batman, but we'll cast him as a sympathetic villain in a Spider-Man movie. It was genius.
It was. It was also nice to see him in screen again. I mean, he's been in other things too, lots of other things, but just see him in a Marvel movie, I should say.
Yeah, well, he hadn't been as much as he should have been. His star power fell off greatly once he got a certain age. He, and yeah, he just he was a A-lister, but kind of a short time as an A-lister. He really was, and then he was just like a notch below that for a while, and then he just had the name. He still had a name that could be cast in stuff, so he would pop up. And then he did like that Birdman movie.
Yeah.
And people were like, "Oh shit, that guy!" And Hollywood, even though you can still be making movies, they act like you're gone. It's really weird. I mean,
Oh yeah.
Travolta was like that. A lot of people act like that. Travolta's career was saved, or blah blah blah, with the Tarantino movie.
Oh yeah.
He did 3 Who's Talking Now movies, and they made a fuck ton of money. Okay, people may hate them because they were just fluff garbage, and then they were pop, whatever you want to call that. But they made, and you had Bruce Willis as one of the voices, and I think the third one had the chick from TV, the Roseanne. She was a voice.
Yeah, Roseanne.
But those movies made a shit ton of money, and Travolta was in those. He wasn't dead. His career wasn't over. As a serious actor, yeah, maybe his career had been over. He was no longer considered an A-list, but he was still in stuff, so I'm getting at. But Hollywood acts like if you're not, yeah. And that's what had happened to Michael Keaton. He is no longer that. And then they did that Birdman movie, and they're like, oh shit, he is a good actor. Even though that was a independent movie. It wasn't big or anything.
Right, but still.
But then it wasn't, I think not long after that, they cast him in Spider-Man. But yeah, that's cool that he's back being Batman. I wish whatever they do that they'll sign him to do a full up Beyond Batman.
Yes.
He'll be perfect for it. And then just don't worry about all these other movies. Don't worry about anybody else's fucking continuity and all that. Just make a Batman Beyond movie. Cast a young actor to play that Terry McGinnis or
Yep.
whatever, and it'd be great. You could do three of them. Just sign him for three movies. Or they can wait 10 years and then get Affleck to do it.
Well,
He's
yeah,
already kind of old. They don't have to wait that long. I mean, his Batman was already kind of older.
true
And
enough.
Affleck's in his mid 40s, I'm guessing.
Yeah, yeah, he's starting to get up there. But
I wish they would give him his own Batman movie and go back and do the script that he had written. That he had to like apologetically tell people that he wasn't going to direct the movie anymore or use his own script because he couldn't crack that nut. He said that was all lies because they were hiring a new director, and then that guy demanded, "No, I got to have my own script. I'm not going to fucking shoot Ben's movie," and he didn't want Ben in it because, yeah, that would have been really weird. So we'll see. Then they went out and got the sparkly vampire or whatever. And I
him,
hope he's good. He'd done some indie stuff where supposedly he's really good in it. And I think we once talked about it on one of our early shows where he'd done some really good stuff.
you know, I'm willing to give any actor a second chance. Although I hated, and I do mean hated, the Twilight series.
Oh yeah,
Um,
with a passion.
it doesn't mean that the actors themselves are bad. It's just again, you can have a great actor and bad writing, and there it is. So
And that was a major franchise. He got paid big money for that. He made him a big star.
I don't think I think it's him. I think he said he hated them too. A
Yeah,
couple of people hated their roles in that movie.
but they made a lot of money.
They did.
And so
Yeah, they
you
did.
can't turn that kind of money down when you're going to get two or three movies in a row where your pay goes from 2 million to 8 million to 22 million for a single movie. You're going to take it. You just got to. I mean, that's life changing. Never have to work again money if you so choose. But where he was smart, he did what a lot of other actors have done. Luckily, he was young enough where he was able to like, you know what? People didn't like those movies, and he wasn't going to get cast in any big time other A movies because there was too much baggage being carried over from Twilight. So he went totally independent and did some low budget stuff and did really good performances, and he built himself back up. And dudes like Johnny Depp, even though got some big movies pretty quick in his career, always kept going back and occasionally doing a low budget indie movie throughout his career to keep good stuff going. Even though his first couple movies he was in some real low budget horror movies, Nightmare on Elm Street, but he wasn't the star or anything of that. Even that was a small part for Depp. But even after he became a big star, he kept going back and doing the indie stuff, and that's what Pattinson did. And then he got cast as Batman. But I've heard really terrible things about it, where he was refused to put on the muscle weight and did some crappy shit. Who knows if that's true. And I've heard other stuff saying no, it's going to be fucking great. I know the one little trailer they did looked really good, but apparently they put all that together just for that DC thing that they did online, and I guess they had to they just did that shit for that, so it caused this kind of a delay in the movie in itself because they put that together. I think that was to show people, hey, this is going to be really good. Don't worry about all the crap that's been coming out of the sets about Pattinson and the director hating each other. Because if it's a big hit, those dudes are going to do at least 2 more movies, and they might even put Pattinson into other superhero movies as Batman. Even though the timing is supposedly different, but you can always, that Flash can take care of that when he comes out of Flashpoint.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know how that'll work out, but should be interesting. Good things coming up from movies. These comic book movies are not going away until they have. I think it might take not two, but like three. excuse me, flops in a row before Hollywood will step back and go, you know what, we're not making these again for a while. What I think is going to happen though is I do believe you're going to see some of the budgets come down. I think you've already seen that on the DC side, except for maybe this Pattinson movie, uh, Batman. I think I don't know that the budget's going to be as high as on the Flash. I mean, even the Justice League and the other ones that Snyder did, Batman, v Superman, those budgets, they might have spent as much as they were spending over at Marvel, but Marvel spent that money better. I just feel that way. The special effects and the people behind the movies, I just think on the Marvel side they got better people than what they were getting on the DC side.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. But we'll see. I mean, also, I'm curious what the new Suicide Squad movie is going to be like.
Yeah, but the only worries about that is he going to be able to come back for a second one or anything else at DC because he's still. I think when Disney fired him, I think Feige whispered in his ear, "Shut the fuck up. You apologized. Shut the fuck up. They fired you, but you're gonna be back. Just don't do anything crazy. Don't say anything in the press. Go do something else. Go take another movie." And that's what he did. But I think even that shocked him because he signed on to their biggest rivals, to DC. And that's wasn't long after they hired him for Suicide Squad that Marvel was like, yeah, we're going to hire him back. We're going to let him do Guardians 3. Um, but I think that contract he signed with Marvel was pretty all encompassing. I don't know that he'll be able to do, I just don't know.
Well, we'll find out.
Maybe there's a clause where he can do another, I hope. I think
Well, let's see how good it
Squad
is.
looks
I
amazing.
mean, it looks good to me, and I like his direction. His directorial style is what I'm trying to say. So we'll see. But I mean,
Just watched Guardians again today, the first one. And, man, that movie is so good.
I know it caught a lot of people off guard too because they're like, "What?" And they're like, "Oh wow."
I just love his casting when Sylvester Stallone's voice playing King Shark, and he got his hand up in the air.
Yeah.
And he says hand, and then Amanda Waller's like, "Yeah, I see it's your hand." And that's just classic James Gunn stuff.
No, it is. It really is. This is what the Suicide Squad should have been, I think.
Well, I think the first one would have been a little bit better like that, but I think the studio panicked on it. And then they brought in the people that were cutting a trailer for them, and they let them recut the whole fucking film. And they were not film people that should have been doing it. They were they were a company that made trailers, and they let them recut that dude's movie. And he's actually a good director, David Ayer.
Oh yeah, I know.
Oh, shit, supposedly there's an Ayer cut. I don't know if we'll ever get it.
It's too bad. Hopefully we do, because I heard there's a lot more Joker scenes. Now, say what you will about the Joker.
Exactly. All that, they made him cut all that Joker stuff out.
Exactly. And I feel like he would have been a better character if they left it in. Because Jared Leto is, in my opinion, a very good actor. I know he's a method actor. I know that he pissed a lot of people off because of his method acting, but that's just how it goes. But I think he didn't get the chance he deserved.
I'm kind of still bitter about that. That was one of those things where gossip and Hollywood bullshit led to stuff getting on the cutting room floor that should have stayed in the movie. So I guess sometimes I like movies that keep everything secret until the movie drops, and then or you simply have a director who's so big that they just can't say anything. You're because you're hiring when you hire Steven Spielberg to make a movie. It's
Yeah,
his movie. You
yeah.
can't tell Steve you got to cut that out.
No,
Although there's a lot of great directors that will listen if you can convince them that you're right, they will do stuff. Particularly their actors that they hire. He hires. He'll let them. Give them some leadway. But David Ayer was not that big a director, and yeah, they neutered him big time on that Suicide Squad. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, they let that chick that played Harley Quinn make some decisions. All right, I've heard this where she was the one that had a lot of that Joker stuff because it was the feminist side of it was like, well, the Joker and her worship of him and all that was not politically correct, and then she pushed to
that's
get
the
some of
character, though. Ah,
exactly that's the missing, and then she got them to make that her movie, and it wasn't very good. It wasn't horribly bad, but it still wasn't like
yeah.
the Suicide Squad was 100 times better than that thing she made with what was it the
Birds of Prey.
Birds of Prey, yeah, which should have been great, but and all that might be BS too, because these kind of reports I'm talking about stuff that I've picked up off the internet. They're not necessarily true.
Yeah, yeah.
She might have been down with what Ayer was doing, and she might have been loving the Joker stuff. I shouldn't even have brought that up about her because those are rumors and not yeah. But I
Yeah.
had heard stuff like that. That's why some of that shit got cut. But I do know this fact that they did let the company that they hired to make the trailer. Um, they ended up letting them recut the film, and that's wow. Yeah, I'm paying somebody millions of dollars to make a movie. I'm actually going to make sure that person has final cut. That director has final say. It's his vision. And if it flops, what's on him? He'll never get another movie. But then again, nobody wants to lose money, so they're always so afraid. And they try to make movies so everything's pleases everybody.
Yeah, and no,
Offer.
it's,
Well,
yeah.
that's the biggest knock at Marvel, but I have not felt that way about too many of the Marvel movies. I know they do stuff to try to please everybody, but they somehow do it good enough. Kind of like McDonald's does. Their shit's
Well,
good, so it's like,
the thing is, they have a good foundation, and when you have a good foundation, you can take liberties.
we were talking about Captain Marvel earlier. I'm telling you, I went into Captain Marvel wanting to hate that movie. I don't like that actress and all that BS shit in the press. She was always complaining about this, that, and the other, and making big stinks over stuff. And then I watched the movie, and I was like, I kind of really liked it.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's not. Is it the top 5 of all those Marvel
No,
movies?
but
No, but it ain't in the bottom 5 either.
no,
It was actually really good. I enjoyed it. I thought she was really good in it, and it was the stuff they did in the last those 2 Avengers movies with her where I think they made the mistake that her character wasn't handled as well or whatever. I think.
well, it was shot first. Those
Yeah, exactly.
so
Kinda,
that's I think an example of where they didn't really know where they were going to take it or how it would do, so they hedged their bets, and well, it didn't work out quite the way they wanted to, but they're okay at the end. I mean, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, although it is getting a little late, so I think I'm going to have to
yeah, it's that time, man.
wind it down.
There was something I wanted to talk about, but I forgot. So we'll have to do it next show.
Yeah,
Uh,
no worries.
couldn't have been important because I did not remember it. Whatever. The big thing is over the next couple of months, I am going to finally, since I got quite a bit of extra money now, so I'm heading back to AliExpress and some of those retro all-in-one systems and stuff. I'm going to order some of those, so I'll have those to do little mini reviews on. When we do a show, I'll whip them out and turn the camera on. Oh, I know what I meant to do. I was going to turn my camera on and show off my high and tight flat top that I got.
All right.
and I've shaved. Doesn't shave today, but
There you go.
yeah.
Hey,
So
looking good.
yeah, I like that look. But I'm like slumped down, so can't hardly. Oh, there we go. Now I'm up there.
There you are.
I gotta get in front of my little laptop.
Oh wow, yeah. Hey man,
Yeah, it's short.
looking sharp. I
But
gotta get my hair cut.
I was so happy. I got a couple of T-shirts from. Uh, I don't even know what company they are, but from an independent movie company. They don't make movies; they just sell movies. Grindhouse Releasing, but one of
Okay.
them has uh, crap starts with a T. It's the one with the chainsaw in it, where it says it's exactly what you think it is.
Oh,
One of my favorite movies. I cannot believe I'm showing my age now when I can't remember something off the top of my head like that. It's a
Texas
big.
Chains.
No, no, this is
Not that one.
well after Chainsaw Massacre. This was about 1978 to 82, probably more like 80. I'm thinking maybe it was filmed in 78, but it came out in around 80. Uh, but Pieces, thank God I remembered it. I'm not losing my mind.
Okay,
I got a T-shirt from that where it says that right on it. Pieces.
that's cool.
It's exactly what you think it is.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's
and
cool.
the other tagline is "You don't have to go to Texas for a Chainsaw Massacre," but it's a pretty cool T-shirt. And the other one is from a much more obscure late '60s Italian Gallo or Giglio, whichever way you want to pronounce it. Crystal, not the bird and the crystal, whatever. But anyway, it's like a picture of a skull, but the bird's inside the skull, and you see the bird's eyes, and then the beak is sticking out through the skull's nose a little bit. But anyway,
Yeah, I think I know what
crystal
you're talking about too.
plumage.
Yeah,
But anyway, it's a great T-shirt, and but anyway, I got them T-shirts in. I'm like, man, I need to go get a good haircut to go. No, I'm not wearing one of those shirts. Although if I stood up, pretty cool T-shirt from. It's actually from
oh
some
yeah.
video game. Ain't that a video game? Yeah,
Dead Island.
yeah. I think I don't know.
Dead Island. I think it's. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know. I recognize it. I just
Anyway, let's get off here,
brains.
man. I'm keeping you on. It's time to go.
Ah,
We are at 2 minutes over 2 hours. So tell them where they can find you.
yep. Twitter at Grey Wolf Gamer One. That's GREY, just like you see on the screen, and the number one at the end. And well, here, Twitter and your show on YouTube.
Yeah, for me, it's a Mojo underscore Blues one, both YouTube and Twitter. For YouTube, it's just this show. I've not been doing videos. They're coming though, but I'm getting healthier all the time, and I think I will start doing some videos. But like I just mentioned before, I'm going to order a bunch of crap from the internet, Chinese stuff to show off. Just cool retro gaming stuff. So, of course, it takes months. It'll be 2-3 months for any of that comes in. And then late in the year or early next year, I am moving to Thailand. We'll talk about more of that later on as that gets closer. Anyway, that's where they can find me, and we'll be back either next week or the week after. You know, we just do the show when we do it. We're not, yeah,
Yep.
never in any hurry. So
No, but it's always archived. So if you want to catch old shows, just click on the link and
yeah, you don't have to worry about what's the most current topics because we talk interesting stuff. So hopefully someday when somebody does discover us and we blow up, they'll be able to watch all these old shows on
that's what we
there.
get to say. Please, like and subscribe. It helps
Yeah,
our channel grow.
yeah, pretty much so. All right, man, I'm gonna end this right now.
All
So
right. Take care, all.